Welcome to Awake and Activate. Today on Awake and Activate, we're going to be talking about the Archangel Metatron and the possible connection to Enoch. So let's get to it. Let's first find out how I got an interest in Metatron to begin with. I was talking to a friend, and we have some very synchronistic things going on within our lives. I'll nickname her Babe. Now, I've already had my appointment for my BQH session scheduled, and it's like the magic then intensified as I knew I was having that on my birthday. In the meantime, I had this conversation with Babe, and I got this really strong impression that her and I have met before we met when we went camping, that we have had things in common, things going on with us. And so that night when I went to bed, to try to get some confirmation on that, I set my intentions so that way I could see whether, she was there amongst this group that I was in. And what happened was, I did wake, and my intentions were to remember it. So what happened was I had that middle of the night wake up, those 444 wake ups, 555s, 333s that we all seem to commonly have. And I saw this man. This man was a colored man. He was a very large man. But he had platinum blonde hair, which, was strange. And in his hands, he was holding this, it looked like this oversized book or this oversized file folder of it was just huge. And he was just standing there, just looking at me, just gazing at me. And I was gazing at him. Now, some other things and other impressions came about. But remember, I already had my session booked. And a lot of times, once you have set the intentions to have your session, your BQH session, things begin to come to you and come more clearly. And her and I had so much synchronicity that I just set the intentions. My eyes were open. I was not asleep. I was woke up and my eyes were open, and I can see this man clearly, absolutely clearly. And it just really stood out that he had this oversized book in his hand. And how this tied into the BQH session that I had was another synchronicity, because the name Metatron came up during my session. So I've done a little research, and I would like to share with you and realize any links that I've used, they're going to be in the show more notes. So, if you want to know more about and listen to or read the entire article, feel free to check the description box and check this information out for yourself. Look into it. But there's some links that with Metatron that have really sealed the deal, especially with the large book he was holding in his hand. And it also confirmed to me that with Babe, we have had experiences together, maybe not of this life, but I know that the people who are listening to this understand what I'm talking about. So let me play these articles for you guys, and I'm going to, instead of showing you the articles, I'm going to put the pictures up that kind of coincide with the articles or the part of the article that it goes along with. So enjoy. Let's start off with the definition of Metatron.
Image, LitaIrian.com. Metatron is a powerful angel who teaches people how to use their spiritual power for good while he records their choices in the universe's great archive, known either as God's Book of Life or the Akashic Record. Some believers say that Metatron is one of only two angels, the other is Archangel Sandalphon, who was first a human being.
Now we see Metatron holding that huge book, as it has been known that he is the scribe of God, sometimes also known as the voice of God. But as we just heard in the definition, he is the one that keeps the Akashic records, the books on each and every one of us. So this is on the Wikipedia. So let's listen to this one.
Metatron. From Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. Not to be confused with Megatron, Magnetron, or Metatron. For other uses, see Metatron, disambiguation. Islamic portrayal of the angel Metatron, Arabic, by Nasir al-Din Ramel in the 14th century. Metatron, Hebrew, Marn, or Metatron, Hebrew, Marn, one is an angel in Judeo-Islamic mythology, mentioned in a few brief passages in the Agadah and in mystical Kabbalistic texts within the rabbinic literature. The name Metatron is not mentioned in the Torah, and how the name originated is a matter of debate. In Islamic tradition, he is also known as Marsh, the angel of the veil. 2-3 In folkloristic tradition, he is the highest of the angels and serves as the celestial scribe or recording angel. 4
There's also a possibility and probability that, remember that Enoch walked with God, and Enoch was also able to go to God and petition for others and then bring back the answers. So he walked with God, and then he was no more, for he was taken. So let's see what Wiki has to say about that.
Origins edit. Among the pseudepigrapha 1 Enoch, Book of Parables presents two figures, the Son of Man and Enoch. At first, these two characters seem to be separate entities. Enoch views the Son of Man enthroned in heaven. Later, however, they prove to be one and the same. Many scholars believe that the final chapters in the Book of Parables are a later addition. Others think they are not, and that the Son of Man is Enoch's heavenly double, similarly to the prayer of Joseph where Jacob is depicted as an angel. 5:83-84 The Book of Daniel displays two similar characters, the Ancient of Days and the one like a man. Parts of the text in Daniel are Aramaic and may have been changed in translation. The Septuagint reads that the Son of Man came as the Ancient of Days. All other translations say the Son of Man gained access to the Ancient of Days and was brought before that one. 6. The identification of Metatron with the Gnostic 3 Enoch, where the name first appears, is not explicitly made in the Talmud, although it does refer to a prince of the world who was young but now is old. However, some of the earliest Kabbalists assumed the connection. There also seems to be two Metatrons, one spelled with 6 letters, and one spelled with 7. The former may be the transformed Enoch, prince of the countenance within the divine palace, the latter, the primordial Metatron, an emanation of the cause of causes, specifically the 10th and last emanation, identified with the earthly divine presence. 7 Furthermore, the Merkava text Real Yat Yehezkel identifies the Ancient of Days from the Book of Daniel as Metatron. 6. Many scholars see a discontinuity between how Enoch is portrayed in the early Enoch literature and how Metatron is portrayed. Scholars commonly see the character of Metatron as being based on an amalgam of Jewish literature. In addition to Enoch, Michael, Melchizedek, and Yael among others are seen as influences. 5. 86 Gershom Scholem argues Metatron's character was influenced by two streams of thought, one of which linked Metatron with Enoch, while the second was a fusing of different obscure entities and mythic motifs. 8180 Scholem argues that this second tradition was originally separate but later became fused with the Enoch tradition. 5. 141 to 142 He points to texts where the second Metatron is a primordial angel and referred to as Metatron Rabo. 5. 141 Scholem theorizes that the two Hebrew spellings of Metatron's name are representative of these two separate traditions. 5. 142 In his view, the second Metatron is linked to Yahuwah. Scholem also links Yahuwah with Michael. 5. 141 In the Apocalypse of Abraham, Yahuwah is assigned duties normally reserved for Michael. Yahuwah's name is commonly seen as a substitute for the ineffable name 9 in 2 Enoch. Enoch is assigned titles commonly used by Metatron such as the youth, the prince of the presence and the prince of the world. 5. 141 However, we do not see Enoch referred to as the lesser Yahweh. 5. 141 In 3 Enoch, Metatron is called the lesser Yahweh. This raises a problem since the name Metatron does not seem to be directly related to the name of God Yahweh. 5. 140 Scholem proposes this is because the lesser Yahweh is a reference to Yahuwah. 5. 140 In Mose Merkabah, the text reasons that Metatron is called the lesser Yahweh because in Hebrew gematria Metatron is numerically equivalent to another name of God Shaddai. 10 Scholem does not find this convincing. 5. 140-11 Scholem point to the fact that both Yahuwah and Metatron were known as the lesser Yahweh. In 3 Enoch 48d1 Metatron is called both Yahuwah Yah and Yahuwah. 12 In addition to being one of the 70 names of Metatron from 3 Enoch 48d, Yahuwah and Metatron are also linked in Aramaic incantation bowl inscriptions. 5.
As they just brought up the Merkabah, which is shown very plainly here for those who have the eyes to see, along with the flower of life, the tree of life, within it. This could be that Metatron is trying to show us the sacred knowledge and bring us wisdom, along with he's in charge of the Akashic records, all of the books that are in the Bible, of the books that will be opened. And it does not take away from Christ. Not at all. It sounds like these archangels, actually even the Son of Man, came down into human form to lead us into the way of how we are to transcend and get through this school. This place that we are here to learn and expand and grow and unconditionally love one another and get a better understanding of who and what we are. So I just wanted to put the Merkabah in here because it was mentioned in that last bit. But now I'm going to pull up another image and do the third part on the wiki. Now, please understand, I'm only doing certain parts. It's a very long article, and each of the numbers that are coming up are where you could click on that article and get more in detail on each of these parts, where it's found in scripture or which holy books or what books in general that you can find this information and dig very deep into the different archangels and the gifts and abilities, and us remembering our gifts and abilities within us. Here is an image that is depicting our transformation, which is spoken by in just about every holy book. And each of the archangels has their certain duties that they do maintain, but they have the abilities and all their gifts within them already. So, with that said, let's see what Wiki has to say about this final part that I'm going to be sharing with you today on Metatron.
Merkabah and later mystical writings edit. Metatron also appears in the pseudepigrapha including She or Coma, and most prominently in the Hebrew Merkabah Book of Enoch, also called 3 Enoch or Sefer HaKaled, Book of the Heavenly Palaces. The book describes the link between Enoch, son of Jared, great-grandfather of Noah, and his transformation into the angel Metatron. His grand title, the Lesser YHVH, resurfaces here. The word Metatron is numerically equivalent to Shaddai, God, in Hebrew gematria, therefore, he is said to have a name like his master. Metatron says, He the Holy One, called me, the Lesser YHVH, in the presence of his whole household in the height, as it is written, My name is in him. 12:5, Alexander's translation. The narrator of this book, supposedly Rabbi Ishmael, tells how Metatron guided him through heaven and explained its wonders. 3 Enoch presents Metatron in two ways, as a primordial angel, 9:2, 13:2, and as the transformation of Enoch after he was assumed into heaven, 24:25. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Genesis 5:24 KJV. This Enoch, whose flesh was turned to flame, his veins to fire, his eyelashes to flashes of lightning, his eyeballs to flaming torches, and whom God placed on a throne next to the throne of glory, received after this heavenly transformation the name Metatron 26. The Zohar calls Metatron the youth, a title previously used in 3 Enoch, where it appears to mean servant. 25 It identifies him as the angel that led the people of Israel through the wilderness after their exodus from Egypt, again referring to Exodus 23:21, see above, and describes him as a heavenly priest. In the later ecstatic Kabbalah, Metatron is a messianic figure. 27.
As you all well know, that I am not into dogma or religious, man-made religions and doctrines, but I am into spiritual health, well-being, and growth, and the activation of our DNA, of our gifts and abilities, remembering who and what we are, and how each of these archangels could be what we're calling guides, higher self, helpers. It even brought up the order of Melchizedek. I hope I'm saying that right. Who was the high priest who went and met with Abraham. And he was also referred to as the Ancient of Days, where he had no beginning and he had no end. Well, Christ came in under the order of Melchizedek. So he was not under the order of the Aaron's rod that budded. He was of a different calling, which was supposed to relate to us that we are all called. We're all here to serve a purpose. We're all here to expand and grow and learning, and by everything that we do, our vibrations go up. The more that we love, the more that we care about one another, the higher our vibe goes. And just like what was explained in my session, it's like a musical instrument that has high notes and low notes. So it's going to go up and down. But as long as we're not holding grudges or things of that nature, or being cruel to one another, and that we're treating each other equally with love, respect, patience, kindness, long-suffering, bearing those beautiful fruits that are listed in the Bible and many other holy books, and like I said, many other places, then we are doing what we need to do to come and grow and become all that we are meant to be, all that we're meant to take away from our time that we spend here in duality by making choices daily. So don't put burdens on yourself. that are not yours to carry. Realize things happen, and they're going to happen because we're surrounded by a sea of people with free will. And when we're surrounded by a sea of people with free will, they have the right to make their choices too. And sometimes their choices directly impact or affect us. And that's just part of it. How will you handle it? Are you going to bury your head in the sand and pretend like it never happened? Do you think that's beneficial? No. We're to face these challenges and overcome them. And always go for love, unconditional love, and forgiveness. Let go of any grudges. They're just holding you back. You are your own limitations. And remember, we're unlimited. So, yeah, think about that one for a little while, guys. I hope this was informative on Metatron. Very interesting. And the way that he appeared to me, and with that huge book, wow, I'm constantly blown away and so intrigued by this place and how perfectly it is made to accomplish what it is meant to accomplish for each and every one of us. With that said, always share what you know and listen so we can grow. I love you guys. I will talk to you soon.